Last 2 years, I've talked basically just about myself, so I thought a change of pace might be in order, so I told him I'd read a poem. I almost immediately was sorry that I had said that because I realized I don't really like poetry. So the next day I said, I don't think I can do this. Well, it seems I couldn't back out of it because I was already on the schedule. It's not like it was set in stone or anything. I believe it was written on a napkin from the Cape. So apparently it was sacrosanct. Well, the next few days was really rough. I read more poetry than I really wanted to. I just looking for something appropriate for the occasion. And after a few days of that, I thought, I just got to settle on something just to save my sanity. So that's my excuse for this poem. Poetry, to me, well, it's hard because it makes you think about stuff. You have to ponder and reflect. And there's obscure references and words that you have to look up. I hit on this one actually because it doesn't really take much pondering. There aren't too many obscure references or words you gotta look up. In fact, just a couple, which I feel compelled that I have to give you the definition of before I start. So, one word, Stygian, Stygian, means extremely dark, gloomy, or forbidding. And another one, nihilist. Definition of a nihilist is someone who believes in nothing, has no loyalties, no purpose other than perhaps an impulse to destroy things. But this also, in the poem also, is a historical reference. So historically, a nihilist was a supporter of an extreme Russian revolutionary party around the 1860s, which found nothing to approve of in the established social order. So you're starting to get a feel for what this poem is going to be. This Tom here, I'm going to say Jakobowski. Little Sofie Jakobowski, handsome as a forest flower, dwelt alone with Gokstad-Falski, Ivan Romanowski, in the palace of the tower, of the ancient Tower of Ivan, dwelt she in the long ago, near by where the frozen Volga sleeps beneath its weight of snow. Now, it seems old Gokstad-Falski, Ivan Romanowski, had a passion for the maid. He was very much afraid that perhaps she might get frisky, fall in love with John Zabisky. So for many a weary hour, he, the old decrepit sinner, kept her locked up, growing thinner. Many a week and month she stayed in that tower, and often laid down to rest upon the cold marble floor. So I am told by an old Slavonic story that is gray and bald and hoary. 'Tis a legend that's so weird, soft winds gently comb its beard. Little Sofie Jakobowski was the fairest of the fair, eyes that seemed halfway confessing, yet would keep you coldly guessing, hair that in each wavy fold tales of witchery unrolled, being that old Angelo traced in cloisters long ago. Lips, those liquid lips whose dew is tinctured with the rose's hue, cheeks afire with the glow of maidenhood, a neck of snow. hoping, grieving, sighing, praying for her lover, disobeying when she dared old Gokstad Fauski, Ivan Romanowski, even hoping to the end for her little Polish friend. Now, it might be said, if any maid had lovers, she had many. Old traditions name a score, but perhaps a dozen more on the little maiden Celeste. For her charms, who could resist? She could bring them from Siberia, Hindustan, or far-off Syria, from the Deutscher Zuiderzee to the rat rice-fed Chinese. There was little Moses Kahn from the village of Kasan, Vladimir and Max Pulaski, Peter Ulrich, Ann Hydrasky, Isaac Ozum of Tarif, one Jim Bagato, a Greek. And a soldier, Peter Hensky of the noted Preobrazhensky, Kudasov and Fedorovich, little Noah Count von Stavich, Seisendorf and Jake Sabatsky, Romanoff and Rufin Ratsky. But the half of them, Herr von Freitag Stabelpem, and a Jew that sent her Rhine wine, Moses Aaron Eiffel Einstein. He from Hong Kong, Sam Wing Lee, Rinky Ali Sami T, Izawiski and Chanimsky, Warren Retsky and Chabimsky, and Tunisi and Tilman and Oli Peterson. She could bring them, I presume, from the far-off land of doom, each with one intent, to woo her, ardent, doing homage to her, sending presents from Australia, nuggets from the Himalaya mountains, rings and souvenirs enough to last 100 years. Arrows almost every hour carried presents to the tower. Don't you think it quite a sin they had to shoot their presents in? Think of how a despot's power kept her locked up in a tower. She, the fairest little maiden, dwelling on this side of Aden. Wouldn't any lover plunge into the deepest Russian dungeon, or become a serf and work out his life at Nedjikirk to kidnap from yonder tower that sweet little Russian flower? So I would. So did the frisky nihilist young John Zabisky. Now the father of Zabisky manufactured awful whiskey. But young John took more delight in making bombs and dynamite, and he entertained the Russians with a series of concussions till they wanted him so bad that it made all Russia sad. Once, I think, he came not far from blowing up the only Tsar. But he had a most surprising way of hiding and disguising. Never man as yet had found him, never army could surround him. Probably he had a mascot, or a regular Russian tascot. John Zabisky seemed contented when he had them all fermented round the palace. Near the gate, Cossack soldiers stood up straight, guarding with their guns and sabers one another from their neighbors. Over there, one can't resist the thought to praise the nihilist. Every day and every hour you feel the despot's potent power. Every day you want to shoot some old potentate and scoot. So with John, one day he saw another way to break the law. Listen, John was discontented, and his smart brain soon invented with saltpeter and corrosive something awful in explosives. Then with heart chuck full, elated, little John sat down and waited. Waited for the somber curtain of the night to make him certain that he might not be discovered or his hellish plans uncovered. Waited till a cloudy pall hung its mantle over all. In Stygian darkness reigning far hid each peeping telltale star that lately had begun to nod from Omsk to Nizhny Novgorod. I didn't know if I was going to get past that. Then he stole up to that tower just beneath his lady's bower. Fearlessly, he placed enough of that paralyzing stuff in the chinks and the foundation of that tower to blast a nation. Then he sat him down and wrote 40 letters. Make a note, He wrote 40, understand, wrote them in a woman's hand. I love only you. Come tonight, sweet love, adieu. Signing with a heart aflame, Sofie Jakobowski's name. One dark night when all was still on frosty turret, dome and hill, 40 suitors came in season, knocked and, I don't know the reason, walked right in the door. It swung open, then it closed and sprung. Every lover seemed to fare the same, for they were prisoners there. They were in beyond a doubt, with no chance of getting out. Now the risky John Zabiskie had the Cossacks drunk on whiskey, and guards with their long sabers rested sweetly from their labors. Sofie Jakobowski, frisky, looked down on her John Zabiskie. John Zabiskie gazed at Sofie, and he longed to gain the trophy. Sofie up there in the casement, throwing kisses towards the basement. John Zabiskie at the basement, hurling kisses to the casement. But he has no time to lose. Fixing up that deadly fuse, now he hurls a line up till it reaches Sofie's windowsill. Scarcely had she made it fast when the maiden stood aghast, startled at what stood before her. John Zabiskie, her adorer. Don't get anxious. I must own John and Sofie were alone. And I know a Russian kiss is not such hard frozen bliss. 'Twas the first in years that they had thus embraced, the time that way. So they occupied the present till the night had grown senescent. And they wondered oft how fair the lovers down below that shared the palace of old Gokstad Palsky, Romanowski. Hark, cried Sofie, 'tis the hour when Moscow's bell in yonder tower peals a knell, and we must fly, or else together we must die. Ah, look, through yonder gate I see that demon, and he comes to me, the wretch that locks and keeps me here from month to month and year to year. Up jumps a risky little frisky nihilist, young John Zabiskie, a kiss upon her lips, his hand upon his breast, as if to brand his vow. You say, he comes to me? You cry, he comes, he comes. To thee I swear by yonder moonlit snow, he comes. Just watch and see him go. Then, with Sofie on his shoulder, never feared that he can't hold her, through the window, down the rope, the nihilist and maid elope. Not a moment do they lose, save to stop and light the fuse. Slowly on its path it crawls toward the gray old castle walls, past the Cossacks with their sabers, still at rest from recent labors. And the noble bodyguard, they are snoring just as hard. A flash, a roar, and Moscow rumbles, and the tower of Ivan tumbles. Up sky high went Gokstad Palsky, Ivan Romanowski. Also, little Moses Khan of the village of Kazan, Vladimir and Max Pulaski, Peter Ulrich and Hydrasky, Isaac Ozim of Tariq, one Jim Bagato, a Greek, and a soldier, Peter Hinsky of the noted Prevojansky, Kudasev and Fedorovich, little Noah Count von Stavich, Seisendorf and Jake Zabatsky, Romanov and Rufin Rasky. This is but the half of them. Herr von Freytag Staubelpen, and a Jew that's entered Rhine wine, Moses Aaron Eiffel Einstein, Drinky Ali Sami T, he from Hong Kong, Sam Wing Lee, Izawisky and Chanimsky, Warren Redsky and Chabimsky, and Tunisia, gentlemen, Jan and Oli Peterson. Forgot to mention that was from Ben King's verse and the copyright date 1894.